Hey Roy, how are you?
I'm good. Good.
Awesome. That's good news. Yeah, we're sitting here just kind of, you know, uh, it was a quiet day in Lake Wobegon, I guess. We tried
Okay.
to be very peaceful. We don't like upset. Trying to keep things down to a dull roar. Hi, Dawn. Yeah, Dawn, I am sorry that I haven't been putting those YouTube things on real time. I will start doing that. One time there was some kind of a glitch and it wouldn't go on there. And I discovered it was because, I never reboot this computer and then my browser crashes. So I have started to reboot it. Hi, Kevin.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks. I'm fine.
Yeah, you look pretty cheerful.
I woke up a bit early, so
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, what time is it there? It's 6 in the morning, right?
no, it's almost 9.
Oh, 9. Okay. All right. Because
Almost. Almost.
because it was just 12 hours different than Roy's time.
Yeah, but it changed. The Chicago time changed a bit, I
Yes, it
think. But
changed 1 hour.
Yeah,
And
we went back
yeah,
an hour, so now it's 13 hours difference.
yeah, I went, and of course, I thought it was 2 hours the other way. I was thinking it would, I don't know what I was thinking, but I got all mixed
Oh,
up. Well, anyway, why don't we, if you want to, we could just get started. I did finish, just do a review of Adelaide's Dream, and I was going to do one at Kevin and
yeah,
Gary's, but I didn't get a chance to do it. When I do a written one, I think when I write, it is different than when I write, it's different than when I think. So I don't know what happened to my Zoom. There it is. Okay.
yeah.
All
It's
right. Yeah.
like
Oh,
that.
no, that's not my Zoom. Can you guys see me?
Yeah.
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 Okay. All right. There we go. I just lost it. I don't know how I lost it here. Okay. Alt. All right. There we go. There we go. It's there somewhere. Anyway, let me get rid of some of these other screens. Okay. Well, anyway, let's do Adelaide's Dream. And because I did try, yeah, like I did with Ivan's Dream, if I have a chance to sit down and actually think about it, I think it helps me, But let me see if I can find this. I don't know why this thing is. Okay, let's see there. There it is. Okay, it went way down. Okay, all right. So here's Adelaide's Dream. Now, again, this is just me, so it doesn't mean that it's correct or anything. But so this is Adelaide's Dream. Okay, on October 25th. So that was let's just see what day that was. That was probably either a Saturday night or a Sunday night.
The October
Yeah, it's a
25th
Saturday night
was
or Sunday.
Sunday.
Sunday. Okay, was it? Do you think it was Sunday morning or Saturday night? Probably Sunday.
Probably Sunday morning,
Yeah.
into night
Okay.
sometime.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that's just interesting. I don't know whether it has. When I was doing it with a Jungian analyst, he would always want the conscious attitude. Hi, Gary. We're just going to start do a review of Adelaide's Dream, then we'll do a review of your dream, then we'll get into Kevin's, which I didn't get a chance to. I was going to review it, but I don't know. We had sort of I don't know. I don't want to describe it. A funny day. But anyway, Adelaide is out in the Midwest. So now I'm just going here that she went to the north, so she went in an ascent, and to the left, and she went to the center. Okay, so it's an ascent and a move towards the unconscious, but towards the center. And then she goes to Washington State because she's hired as an actress in a theatrical group. So from the center, she continues the ascent and goes very far into the unconscious, okay, to the left hand side, okay, the farthest left, really, the most unconscious position. And she is, now you could say that she's either in the realm of the inferior function or just of the unconscious, or the dwelling place of the animus, you know. Now, so going north is an ascent, going left and north is to travel to the completely unknown. You know, the spider woman used to tell the two brothers who were going to try to find their father, she'd say, go any direction except north. And of course, they'd all go north because that was the way of the unknown, unconscious, that's unplotted. Especially in the northern hemisphere, the northern regions tend to be a little unmapped, you know. So she's the theatrical group. Okay, now this to me is the mythical. You know, she's joined a group which is interested in the mythical, and to participate it is to participate in the imaginal realm, or the realm of images, the theatrical group. You know, in other words, it is a reality that is separate from ego reality. It's sort of this as if realm. See, now the world of active imagination is an as if realm, and so is the middle realm of soul is an as if realm. Doesn't it's one of those things that's neither nor. You know, I mean, it doesn't exist in our normal sense of existence, and yet it's real. Okay. Now, anybody who's confronted the unconscious, if they think about it, that's what we're doing. You know, we're hi Ivan. We're encountering something that is not real in the ordinary sense. There's no time or spatial characteristics, and yet it is so real. In fact, it's the most real thing that we have. And the realm of images, or the realm of dream, is the most genuine thing we possess. Okay, so anyway, then now there is an old white man who books. I'm assuming she's since she's Asian, she's thinking of a European man. Do you think, Roy?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a who books the group for the shows, but he is just interested in the finances. So this is the animus, or the wise old man, could be a combination, and he's only interested in the venue of the play of images, not so much who's participating or what they're doing, but just where the venue of the realm of images are. So it's a very interesting role, sort of an intermediary, like Hermes, a little bit. I don't know. No, I mean, it's just this intermediary who just sets the stage, you know, who books the show, books the
Who's the god of finances? Who's the god of finances?
Okay. Yeah, and he's in charge of the finances. That's the psychic energy that's involved in the mythical realm, in what it generates, what the theatrical group generates, what the mythical realm, the energy it generates in our ego. Okay, So he's in charge of it. So he's you know, he is a little bit of a middle, an intermediary character, a bridge. So that would tell us somewhat that he's probably the Animus, you know, because the Animus and the Anima are bridges. Okay. And he's venerable and represents the deep past because he's very old. He comes from an age prior to ours, you know. Now there are two male actors, one Hispanic and one black, and they have to dance in a choreographic event, say, and the two actors show Adelaide the dance. They demonstrate the dance. So there's two other Animus. So there's three male figures here. And with her, it's a quaternity. So these two appear to represent a more instinctive Animus than the one who's interested in finances and finding venues for the mythical performance or the performance of a symbolic nature. I would say I'm thinking these are dances that are somewhat, you know, they are symbolic dances. You know, of course, being the snake, it definitely is. Yeah, okay. Okay, but they seem to be a little more instinctive function. So you would think maybe it might be the inferior function and the and the tertiary or the non-secondary function, or you know, I would think that the one who's in charge of finances and the psychic energy is representing somewhat the thinking function. I don't know, you know, but I don't know whether that's important here. It might not be important. Okay. So now, one of these knows other languages, you know, knows other ways of communicating, and is foreign to us. So he's well, both of them are unfamiliar beings to our normal milieu. So they are beings who are slightly outside of our ego realm, you know, and they are also interested in the lyrical or rhythmic movements and are here to instruct Adelaide in the art of the rhythm of the body. And by being a snake, just a second, Charles, I'm going to mute you for just a second. You can unmute yourself. I think there was some kind of
rustling.
Yeah, it was some kind of a rustling going on. But that unmute yourself. By the way, Charles, I didn't say hello.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I thought I was muted. My bad.
Yeah, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Sounded like you were shining your shoes. That's okay. All right. So anyway, now they are trying to be like a snake. Well, these two Animus are trying to evoke the most ancient and most primordial symbol of being alive, the snake, you know, and it represents the lower realms, the underground realms, and you know, when young Philemon or young soul told him that when you're not conscious of your soul, it breaks up into three parts: a snake, the human soul, and then the dove, which is one that's inaccessible to us because it's in the spiritual realm, where the snake is more accessible to us because it's very earthy, you know, and young, like he says, they always flee from us, but if we would follow where they go, they will take us to where we need to go, you know. So anyway, they're trying to be like the snake, but not unsurprisingly, they are not very good snakes. And I think that's because they represent logos. And a non-earth aspect of ourselves. So someone who represents logos, and that means they're disconnected from the earth, and they are differentiating, and so they're a little bit more separate from nature. They're more ethereal. Now, an ethereal being, a logos being, is not going to be able to impersonate a snake other than mechanically. He's not going to immediately, when we see them, he doesn't even have to tell us he's a snake. You know, I remember in Don Quixote, there was an artist there that they were seeing, and his all his paintings, he always had to write under it what it was, or nobody knew. Rooster, you know, and so they knew it. Oh, that's a rooster. Okay, so they have to kind of tell you what they're doing. They are a snake. Okay, and now Adelaide thinks that the animus has only a perfunctory idea of this most primordial instinct, because it's very, very feminine. You know, it's very, very earthy. It's, at least, let's say that, and primordial and connected to the life force, which logos is not. And so now Adelaide, now I don't think this is necessarily Adelaide. It's her more genuine self, or some more genuine part of her is interested in the audience reaction. Okay, and she knows she can do the snake very well, but all she wants to know is the departure point and the goal, and then she'll supply the middle. Now, this is exactly the way of the serpentine way. It knows its departure point and it knows its goal, but it's not a military road. It's one that undulates unpredictably. So when she does that, she doesn't want to know, all she needs to know is the departure point and goal. That is the snake, you know. Then they supply, they will get there in the serpentine path, you know, which is shaped just like, you know, the way they move, you know. They sort of push their body forward, then pull their right body with their scales, which hold them to the ground. Then they push their body forward, and then they pull their body forward. That's how they move. You know, I mean, they're continually stretching out the front part of their body, anchoring it, and then pulling the back part up. And that's why it's a funny ambling way. They're unbelievably unusual animals. They're almost like land fish. You know, I mean, no legs.
No limbs.
No limbs. So it's almost like a land fish. And then they have these staring eyes that seemingly never blink, you know. And then, like no other animal, maybe a shark or dolphins or something, has a sensory aspect that's not smell, that's not taste, that's not sight, that's not hearing. It's chemical. And the forked tongue, you know, triangulates. So they pick up molecules of whatever they're following. You know, it is probably a scent or odor or some type of vaporous gas that follows the animal, you know, and then they can tell which, like, for instance, if a rattlesnake that bites a mouse and the mouse doesn't die immediately, runs off, he can follow the mouse that has been bitten and not a mouse that hasn't been bitten, you know. So, I mean, just by his triangulating thing. 'Cause, they can't see very far, you know, but these sensory things lead them wherever they need to go. It's a miracle. It really is. As is the venom of the snake. It's just so diabolical, you know. It's incredibly diabolical. And their way of digestion, swallow it whole. They don't have anything to chew with. Most animals will rip it apart like a eagle or an owl, and then eat the little bits of it. And sometimes they'll swallow all the bones, swallow the animal, and then they cough up a fur ball, with bones in it. Our dogs do that too. They swallow bones, they always cough them up. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm getting a little off topic here, don't you think? Okay. Well, anyway, so she is trying to evoke the snake. But don't you think that that's a very mysterious conclusion to that dream? I mean, that that the Animus are trying to teach her the ways of the snake.
No, she's teaching them the ways of the snake.
Well, yes. I mean, all they need to do, what they need to do as the logos aspect is to provide, the venue,
just
and
the finances
the psychic
and the
energy.
venue, the structure, finances. Yeah. She's going to do the snake,
Yeah. So it's like, in primitive tribes, the male would set the perimeter for the village compound so that the female, and then she would do everything within the female. So they kind of set the venue, provide psychic energy, and show her where the departure point is in the goal, and she fills it with her feminine energy. So this is a really absolutely beautiful partnership between the masculine and feminine energies. I mean, the masculine energy provides the word, and the word is snake. And here's the departure point, and here's the end point. And then they provide the stage that's going on, and whatever it costs to have the stage there. And then she fills it with feminine energy, that kind of a vessel that has been set up for her, Now, whether that's her or it's, it almost seems like, because she is so knowledgeable and so immediately adaptive to the image that she's been given, it doesn't seem, it must be related to the dream ego, but it seems like it's something like an inner wisdom has manifested itself because of the three Animus who provided the departure point, the goal, the venue, and the psychic energy. If any Animus could provide that for her, then the dream is telling her that within that venue set up in this infrastructure, which is somewhat masculine, it doesn't have to come from an actual man, but it could come. Jung's soul told him, don't look for the feminine outside yourself. Look for the feminine within yourself. So it's kind of is, to me, saying to Adelaide that you need to use the masculine in yourself for these purposes, to establish a perimeter, to know where to start, to know where to end, to have a thematic theme or something, the snake. And so it's what's absolutely beautiful about this is the collaboration between masculine consciousness and feminine consciousness. But even more magical and more beautiful is it's themed or centered around the image of the snake, which is a very powerful image for any of us, you know. And I don't know, for Adelaide, it might have a little bit different connotation than it does for a Western person, possibly. I'm not sure, you know, in at least in China, the dragon is a very positive figure. You know, where over here it's a symbol of a lack of consciousness, and you know, like Joseph Campbell says it hoards beautiful women and gold, and can't use either one of them. You know, so it's kind of I don't say that it is different, but that's just, regardless of that, the image of the snake is she could not have picked a more powerful image. I'd say it rivals the shoebill stork.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Don't tell me.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Well, does Roy? Do you have any comments on it further?
Well, you know, we were making snake jokes all day because, you know, you told me, Jung, wait a minute, I have to consult the snake on this. Mm-hmm. And Adelaide knows a lot of that symbol stuff with the snake, but we can chuckle. But we have all these animals in the pasture, and I always told her, you know, the snake has a bad reputation, and she just it's naturally got a hook for that. She doesn't like it, but now she's able to accept that about herself. You know, who cares? The snake has fun. The snake can go where he wants to go. He has fun. He doesn't have to put up with all this bullshit. And she's relaxed with it. You know, she's not. It doesn't. She doesn't react to it anymore, or she's trying to get out of that stereotype. You know, she's able to accept who she really is. I think that's who she really is. I mean,
Yeah,
she's free in it.
You know, it doesn't agree with my snake. That's what Jung said about
yeah.
Freud, or about something that they wanted him to do. He said it didn't agree with my snake.
Yeah.
And so I knew I couldn't continue with that. I had to, you know, I had to totally leave that prestige realm. He didn't totally leave it, but at least in personality too, he did. He was still somewhat vain his whole life, you know.
People don't realize what the snake's for and how important it is. It's the snake's everywhere. You can't be in a group of people or anything that somebody doesn't take the role of the snake. I mean, we wouldn't have anything happening if it wasn't for the snake. And it's so important, and people don't really think about that. How important it is to pay attention to the snake and how fascinating it is and how much you can learn from it, because it's sort of all shadow material for the collective, and for most people it's an individual because they don't have anything but the collective. So it's a fascinating thing to start contemplating and watching for.
And it has something to do with with the spinal cord. You know, it's sort of related to the cerebrospinal consciousness. You know, that is full of brain activity that controls the body, and yet it's not the brain. You know, I mean, it's it has a brain or a consciousness within it, and yet the snake does not is not cute like a puppy. You know, it doesn't have much personality. A reptilian personality.
Well, it does. That little snake with the crown, I think he has a lot of personality.
Well, yeah, I mean, but
But in general,
There-
no. But that's
no,
because people don't get to know the snake. You know,
no.
if you're doing something theatrical or going to a movie or reading a novel, if it doesn't have a snake in it, you're not going to read it. It's going to be boring. The dark
No.
characters have all the depth and the personality. They're the
Well,
ones that are fascinating.
even in Polynesia, or where they don't have snakes, they have adapted the eel for the role of the snake. And there are sea snakes too. But I don't know how common they are. But the eel is a little more common. So where we would have a myth that involved the snake, in Polynesian myth, it would involve the eel.
But there's plenty of snake people in Polynesia.
Yes.
We don't have to be literal. There's human
The
snakes.
seven-headed, the snake canopy, the seven-snake canopy that covers over everybody. What do you think, Gary? It's much more beautiful when we had a time to think about it, I think, or we get it.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one because we don't exactly know our circumstances. But to me, it's almost like, so these are all aspects of yourself. And it just seems to me that it's saying, okay, you have parts of yourself that are dealing with an event or a problem or something you're trying to do. And really, you just need to let go and go with your intuition. Here, there's parts of it that aren't well adapted to doing the snake dance. But maybe they do know the beginning and end that's desired. And they just need to turn it over to the instinct to figure its way through.
Yeah, it is. It's a wonderful juxtaposition of dance, of the role of the masculine, the role of the feminine, and then what is the production, the theatrical production that we're going to present in this mythical realm? It's the dance of the snake. Mm-hmm. Now, isn't that profound? It's very profound. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, I don't think I really have so much to add here. I know psyche of snake can often be symbolized, or psyche can be often symbolized as psyche. That's pretty much what I have. I don't really have much. I felt most of it has been said.
Okay. They got a lot of snakes in the Philippines. They probably win the prize there.
Yeah, I've seen snakes in the Philippines. They have all kind of weird stuff here. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't know that they got a lot of snakes in Norway. I don't remember seeing any.
I've seen one. I've seen only once in my 30 years.
Yeah. Wasn't it? They didn't have any in Ireland. And St. Patrick brought the snakes to Ireland. Wasn't that the story? I'm not sure. Well, Dawn, if you're always welcome to comment. You can just jump in if you have any words of wisdom. But how about you, Charles? Until she has anything.
It was a little hard for me to get the gist of the dream. I actually just got home. I was actually driving most of the time. I was listening to it, but I was listening to your kind of synopsis of it, and I thought it was interesting. The kind of threefold representation of the Animus seemed to be present there, which was really interesting. That she's doing a serpent dance, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's supposed to be taught that. That's interesting. I feel like that kind of could be like it. I feel like if that symbol was in my dream and someone was teaching me like a serpent dance, it would be like them trying to teach me just how to let the kind of life force energy of the universe, like how to express it. I feel like the serpent dance is just a general expression of like libido and energy. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I really have at the moment. I'm about to rejoin the group in a second, though. I have to log
Okay,
off.
yeah, well, yeah, sure. I mean, if we can get through Kevin's dream and Gary's, I just wanted to go through Gary's a little bit. We'll go through, you can present a dream, or unless Dawn has one. Ivan, do you have any thoughts about this?
I don't think I have anything to add beyond what's already been said.
It's very profound, I would say. Don't you think that? I mean, just the snake dance itself is unbelievably profound, and then the idea of the setting of the stage, and then the beginning and the end set by these more instinctive animus, and yet they don't know. They're not very good at doing snakes, which doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it made me think of Sandy's dream, I think it was, about the snake eating itself.
Yes, yeah, the Ouroboros is, eats its own tail, and that means it's the connection of the opposites, and it also forms a mandala. And that's another thing about the snake; they can form it's just the snake is everything. It really is. I mean, and anything, the primal part of almost any image in the psyche is the snake. I mean, you can go back to it anyway. Well, let's just go through, just sum up Gary's dream, because I don't know if we did it very well. He's in a small mountain or desert town with a business partner, and they are intending to build a car wash. They go to meet a realtor in the vacant lot where apparently her office is. And while they're there, they pull a piece of dead wood off a tree and thousands of moths fly out. Initially, I run in a circle around the lot until I realize the insects are not wasps, but moths. And then I just stop and watch. Okay. Well, I would just summing this up, because I thought it was an important dream, is, the dream ego goes into a remote place, either near the mountains or the desert. It's far from civilization. And they were going to build something that had to do with cleansing the vehicle of the ego, the cars. It's just going to be something to do. It's got an important role, because the cars always have an important role. I mean, everybody here, as far as I can tell, has had dreams about cars, and mine are always it's driving itself. I'm riding in the back seat. There's nobody in the front, and it looks like we're going to have an accident, but nothing happens. So it has a connection with who's driving the car. Are we driving the car? So who's controlling our life through the world that we're riding in? So this awareness that we have is riding in something that we don't really control, And so this water aspect is could be either it's bringing unconscious to the vehicle of the ego, almost like the Aquarius water bearer, or has some type of a cleansing role, and then so we go and meet the realtor in a vacant lot, and Gary has a picture of it. Do you have it handy, Gary? I can get it up real quick if you don't have it. But it's a wonderful, I think this is just a wonderful representation of the dream. I have a picture of it if I can. Let me see if I can post it on Facebook. Okay, did you find it, Gary? I'm just saying. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now what's interesting about this is that the realtor has a office in a vacant lot. Okay, so this person, And he kind of reminds me of, now Ivan's had dreams about realtors, and Gary's having dreams about realtors, you know. And what does a realtor do? He's someone who transacts sections of earth, you know, and lands, or the vessel of the in which we live, you know, our home. You know, there's a aspect of it's the broker of the earth and our home. And our home is where now we always have various homes. The one Ivan had was this wonderful home, which he was not aware of, and it was almost infinite. You couldn't, no matter what you wanted, it would show that it had it. So anyway, that is so we're in the remote place with the shadow. Has something to do with water and what propels the psyche and actually is the controller of our life and not us, you know. And we go to meet a realtor, some kind of a Hermes in a vacant lot, but that seems to be just this place we go to has a dead tree, and we pull a piece. It has a tree with a dead limb, and we pull this dead, desiccated, dried aspect of ourselves off, and out flies all these insects, which we think are full of stinging energy, but no, they're the insects of what's been long forgotten and neglected. So this dream seems to say something about in the remote places away from civilization, there is beneath a dead limb lies that aspect of us that we've neglected and has drawn not just one or two moths, but clouds of them. And then when they come out, they form a circle. So I think that there is something in this about in the rooted thing, far away from consciousness, lies the thing that Gary's been neglecting. What do you think, Gary? There's something in a tree far away from your ego consciousness that you've been neglecting, and it draws moths. It's moth-eaten.
Yeah, it's either like, so I think of moths as coming from like the unconscious. So like I also see it maybe as, you know, pulling off the dead limb frees this aspect to then come forth. And then it sort of almost forms a unity because it forms a circle.
Forms a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it could be a long neglected aspect too. I mean, it's certainly something undiscovered, but now has the possibility of being discovered.
Yeah, even though it is neglected and forgotten by ego and the outer psyche, it seems to, like a crystalline structure, automatically form a circle, you know. So there's an aspect of it that it represents wholeness, but it's a wholeness that we've forgotten about and has attracted the insects that come to things that have been left in a closet too long. You know, in this case, it was left in the rooted thing too long. You know, and in fact, the limb that used to be living is now dead, and and through pulling off that dead branch of the tree, it's the dead branch of the tree. It's the dead branch of the tree of life. You know, your life, and when you pull it off, it's like pulling off the scab of the tree of life, and all these beings representing what in the tree of life we've neglected and not paid any attention to, and it's lain unobserved for so long, has attracted unlimited amounts of the creatures of buying. Now that's my interpretation of the moth. It could be wrong, but that's kind of where I'm going with it. But I don't say that it's absolutely gospel. What do you think, Roy?
Yeah, something here that I feel like there's a ritual, like in Gary's dream where he had to go up those stairs and deal with this incubating thing where he had to dry it out some, less water or whatever. He's like incubating something. He plays a role in this ritual. And I get this ritual thing in this dream. He's very sort of Saturnian, property sort of Saturn, deadwood sort of Saturn, vacantness is sort of Saturn. He's playing this middle role, doing these tasks involved in this ritual, this incubating something. I don't know what it is, but I get this kind of feel for Gary. He's in that role doing this.
That's very good. What do you think, Charles?
Really all I have is like that that maybe recently you have discovered or touched upon, maybe even released a source or tapped into a source of energy, of autonomous energy that you thought was violent at first, because a wasp is just a kind of nasty, violent creature, but it turned out to actually be a creature of transformation, because a moth starts as a caterpillar, it goes into a cocoon, and then it can fly. It's a nocturnal creature. It's rather benevolent. It won't hurt you at all. So that's what I would think if I had that dream, is that I had tapped into some energy that I at first thought was quite harmful, or that at least I was frightened of, or had some level of caution towards, but it actually turns out to be a transformative, benevolent energy. That's what I would say.
Yeah, well, the moth does do that. I mean, it's sort of like, in that book that it's called Book of Symbols by Serlo, it says a frog is to a toad as a bee is to a wasp. I don't know what that means, but what is a butterfly to a moth? Now the moth is definitely a creature of transformation, so that's a very good important point. But the moth tends to not be it can be beautiful, but even the most beautiful moths tend to look like an old, faded out tapestry, compared to the brilliant colors of the butterfly. I've seen very beautiful patterned moths, but since they're so fuzzy and they just seem like they've got hair growing on their wings and things, on their antennas and stuff, they look a little nothing as brilliant as the butterfly. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, whatever this dream is, Gary, this is very special. From the moment you shared it, from the drawing, I don't know, I see two mandalas in this dream. You have the tree, which is more a static living mandala. And within that static living mandala came the moving dynamic mandala, which is the moth moving towards a circle. I don't know what it means, but I don't know. I feel a sense of rebirth theme going on in this dream, with the, with the car wash, and yeah, opening up to something within yourself.
The new start too. It's a new
A
start.
new start, yeah.
Yeah.
And whatever it is, Gary, I don't know, but I feel like, yeah, it has been, it has it has been done sort of in the unconscious, and I just feel like, I think moth will be a team going, more of a team going on further also in your life.
Yeah, it is. I now see both, all three of you guys have said things I didn't think about. It's the creature of transformation. It is, it's a symbol, somewhat of a new beginning. I mean, it's the follow up to the fact that we're going to build something as mundane and pedestrian as a car wash. Okay, and then we go and to the realtor where we might be putting our car wash, and we pull a branch of a tree that no longer is viable away, the dead branch, and out of it comes all this life. So out of this rooted thing, if we would get rid of the dead branches, there would be this fabulous cloud of the transformative, a transformative insect coming out of there. See, you wouldn't think butterflies live in a tree, but you could think moths live in a tree. So I might be wrong on that, the fact that it represents something neglected, but it definitely is. Regardless, let's say it isn't something neglected. It was hidden and unknown to ego until it pulled the dead branch off the tree of life, and opened up through pulling the dead branch off the tree of life. As Kevin says, we eliminated that branch that was no longer had any life in it, and when we do, suddenly whoosh, this fabulous circle of flying figures of transformation pour out of the tree of life. Now, doesn't that sound a little more satisfying? What do you think, Ivan?
Moth is really interesting because you're in a place that's vacant. You're just in this parking lot, right? And then there's this tree there that has this dead branch, and so these moths come from, like, generally when I think of moths, I think of them coming from some vacant place. Oftentimes I usually see moths at night. I guess why is because they're always attracted to the light. I usually find them kind of irritating. That's my own personal feelings towards moths. So I guess if I was surrounded by moths, I wouldn't be scared, but I wouldn't think of it as a joyous, transformative event either. And the place that the moth has come from, this place of where it's vacant, and then by pulling off something dead from something living, I feel like there's a connection to be made here, and I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's like a dream of danger or anything like that, but to me it doesn't seem that pleasant either. Well, I'd be relieved that they're not wasps, but I wouldn't be pleased that there's a circle of moths around me either.
No, well, the circle is almost magical. But one thing you said, Ivan, and Charles repeated it too, it is a nocturnal animal. So it's lunar, where the butterfly is a creature, a solar creature, and related more to the sun with its bright, beautiful colors, like the monarch and the yellow swallowtail. The moth is more of a nocturnal creature, not related to the sun at all, and so it's lunar. So it also represents the energy of the silver feminine, lunar feminine, you know, the night energy, you know, so it's not solar. It is related more to a lunar aspect. So those are both very good clues, Ivan and Charles, and the rebirth. Go ahead.
Oh, it's just that when you brought up lunar, that makes for a really interesting point, because it's, you know, surrounding him, circling him. So I guess like that's a really interesting connection there. Just this idea of the moth kind of being attracted to this lunar feminine energy.
Yeah, and then to add that the rebirth motif and pulling the dead branch off something that's living, and releasing all of this. Now, Roy, do you have any comments to kind of conclude this or not?
The moth is sort of the chthonic butterfly, and I'm really into chthonic and dark stuff, and I think it's wonderful because maybe Gary is afraid of connecting dark stuff. He associate I'm gonna get stung or something, but this dark thing came out, a magical circle, and this silvery powder, you know, scales that the moth have on them. It's like a chthonic butterfly. So in that world, or maybe in Jungian terms, this is a wonderful thing. I mean, you go so low, so dark, and of course you're going to see chthonic things, but then you start going up. You know, a lot of people that see butterflies, it just might be inflation or something. It's nowhere to go. So I'm thinking in Jungian terms, this is a wonderful thing.
But yeah, and that's another good point. When you kill, I don't go out and try to kill moths, but if I accidentally do kill this very soft-bodied creature, you are covered with silver glitter. So it's almost made out of like lunar, the rays of the moon. It's almost built out of the silver rays of the moon, you know, or consists of it. You know, it has that aspect. Well, Gary, do you have any comments? I mean, I don't feel satisfied with it because I don't really understand yet, and I think I might give it one more stab, because I was going to try to study it, but I didn't have a chance today. But what do you think, Gary?
Yeah, I think I just need to integrate everything that, you know, everyone said. I mean, some really good insights.
Oh, it's amazing. Thank you, everybody. I mean, that was everybody here had a really interesting aspect. Okay, all right. Well, let's see if we can get started on Kevin's dream, and then we'll go to either a Charles or Dawn dream if you have one. And Dawn, if you want, at some point, we don't have to do it tonight, but we could discuss your kind of outline that you put in the email too, if you want, at some point. But
maybe could you put that in the chat, Kevin?
Yes, he did.
Oh,
yeah, he did. Did you want to read your dream, Kevin, or not? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I will read it.
Yeah, okay, sure.
This is a bit long dream, but Walter. Walter. What am I writing? Okay. So I'm at my grandmother's porch. At my grandmother's porch, my cousin is there, and he gets accused for something. And so he gets mad and he defends himself because he's tired of getting accused. Now, there seemed to be a family gathering, and now we are gonna have a dinner. And so my father is now in a dream. And remember, I'm 35 years old. I never had dreamt about my father. Like, I never seen him in my dream. Like once the archetypal father, but never like the father, you know, which was truly my father. So I don't see his face. I just see his body. I feel his presence, and we are just gonna have dinner. And so he's gonna sit with the other, and I'm gonna sit on another place. Somehow I don't want to feel like I'm following him, and I'm also a bit shy. And then I realized before I could eat, I needed to go to work, and I actually had a new job. And this new job was making sure that security at the subway was working well, because there is a new installed security type thing. It was a new advanced, not advanced, like it was a new security on tubes, and my job was to make sure they were fine. And now I am about to go to one of these tubes, but before I go in, I am like on this, in this glass, behind a glass door, and my mom is behind me, starting bothering me, like saying, asking many questions. And so I just go outside this glass door into the tube. I am going to check the security if it's working well. The thing is, it's my new job, and I don't know how to do this job. I don't know what to do. And so what I see on the tube is a TV screen, which is bulged out. So I see like there's a TV screen. I was thinking perhaps it has something to do with this, because this is a new feature on the tube. I do fix something not on the TV screen, but just above the door of the tube. And I take some components out. And the components I take out was 2 spring and some other thing. And yeah, and so what happens is now I'm with that tube and outside in the platform again, and a lady calls me from the work, or I call her and I tell her and ask her if the work I did was correct, like if the component I took out from this tube was correct. And I don't know if I should see, I might as well say. Okay, so we also noticed during our conversation that the tube has switched places. Like the tube that's supposed to go this way has switched places. Like left goes right and right goes left. Like, and she warns me about the danger that, you know, they could mistake each other, end up crashing. They weren't crashing in a dream, but it was like, you know, if they keep doing this, you know, they might make a mistake. And so now I am in the tube again, and I see my uncle is there, and he's very interested in what I'm doing, and he wants to know what I'm doing with this new job and so on. And I tell him about it, and I show him the component that has taken out from the tube. So I grab into my pocket and I try to get the component, and I have this 2 spring and some other thing. And my auntie was also with him, because they're married. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
That's long dream, sorry.
All right. Well, we're just going to go through it very patiently. And
we don't need to go through everything. If it's a bit fine.
No, but I mean, let's just go through each part because when there's a dream that's longer, that doesn't intimidate me. You know, I just treat each image as a separate image. Okay. Okay, you're at your grandmother's place on the porch. So this would be, is it your father's mother or your mother's mother?
It's in the Philippines. My mother's mother.
So it's the mother of the mother, and so it's kind of almost the great mother, you know, a more eternal mother, or, you know, it's the mother of our mother, you know. And okay, we are sitting near in her dwelling place, and there's no sign that she's there, and yet a relative, probably a maternal relative, is accused, who probably represents some shadow aspect of ours, has done something wrong, has been accused of doing something wrong, and he defends himself and becomes angry. So at the place of the mother, the shadow's there. He's accused of a nefarious act. He denies it. Okay. Now we are now about to have dinner. Walter, your father. Is your father's name Walter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's this father name.
Yeah, his name's Walter.
He's dead, by the way. So
Okay, sure. But we're about to have dinner at the place of the mother of the mothers, and Walter, your father, who's your father and the husband of the mother, is having dinner with us, and he's trying to find a place to sit, and so are you. And it seems like we are about to sit at different places, because I was somewhat shy to sit next to him. Before I could eat, I needed to go to work, so you didn't really want to sit next to him. You know, were you somewhat estranged from your father a little?
yes, yeah, 6 years old. I never met him. I met him once after 19 years.
All right. So he's this kind of a sort of a either a mythical or a ne'er-do-well figure that's in the background, you know, that is, you know, doesn't really have a sterling reputation in, you know, in our mythical history. He does have a big role, but it seems to be one of somewhat of like abandonment, or maybe that's too strong a word, or, you know, just he's not here and yet he's alive. So he's absent, even though he's could be here, you know. So, and he doesn't seem to care that much. That's probably pretty strong, don't you think, Kevin? Or
No, I didn't know what to associate my father, but
Yeah.
once you talk, it could be that he's the only person I trusted. Like, what I mean by that, he never lied to me. Like,
Okay.
when I grew up in the Philippines, everyone would lie or steal from me, but he was the only one that said something and he would do it.
Mm-hmm. Now, was he the Norwegian?
Yes,
Yeah.
but he lived most of his life here.
Okay. All right. So, but he actually spent time in the Philippines, even though he's from Norway.
Yeah, he spent most of his time in the Philippines. He died in the Philippines.
Oh, okay, great. Or not great, but it's good to know. Okay. So anyway, our father is there, and he is a man who is somewhat mysterious because of we very rarely see him. And he died when you were 6 years, or you didn't see him much after you were 6 years?
No, they divorced when he was 6 years old, and so we went back to Norway. But I visited him once after 19 years in my sister's wedding in the Philippines.
Okay,
or
so
he came.
So you only, and then he died after that.
He died 3 months after.
Okay, so that was the only time you'd seen him since you were 6.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay, but anyway, I'm not sure that has any relationship to the dream, but let's just take some of the just the surface aspects of it. Is a father figure who in real life was not real available to us and yet was our father, is suddenly there. We're kind of shy to sit next to him at a dinner, and and then we actually can't eat dinner anyway because we have to go to work, you know. So all right, so we're at the grandmother's house. The shadow gets accused of something. Then we go into a change of scene. It is a dinner. It's some type of acquiring the sustenance. While we're acquiring sustenance, the father appears, and it seems a little awkward, and we don't want to sit next to him. So he's a little bit, you know, of a scary figure, just slightly. You know, I mean, we don't feel comfortable around him. yet he's our Father, you know. Okay. And then, now we don't know what that means yet, but we'll just keep going. Okay. You had a new job, and that was making sure that the security at subways worked, and they had installed new security measures, and you were to analyze how they worked. And as you're waiting for the subway to come behind a glass door, your mother is there. Now we didn't hear, the grandmother didn't apparently show up, but the our mother is there, and she keeps disturbing me. So you go out the glass door into the subway platform and into the subway, the one you're supposed to work on. So the mother is, the father was there. He's someone we feel a little uncomfortable around. The mother is there, but she is a disturbing element, and you need to get away from her. I mean, it's just not conducive to your, your spiritual health. So we're going to just keep going here. Okay. I'll tie this more together next time. You watch. I thought I was going to have trouble with Ivan's dream, but I think we did a good job with that one. Okay. Then I didn't know what I really had to do, as I was new to this job. So we're not really clear about what our job is or what we're supposed to do, other than, well, I don't know. I mean, you're supposedly involved in security, but you don't seem to know what to do. And you see a bulged out TV screen, thinking it's a new feature on the tube and must perhaps something to do with it. I had now taken out some springs and other components by the door. So you were disassembling a door. Is that right? You're disassembling a door or something?
Yeah, above the door there is some component that
have to do with the security.
Yeah.
And you're just correcting those. And then the bulged out TV screen is you wouldn't think that even if it was a new feature that anyone would be happy. Is it a 3D? Do you mean by bulged out that it's a 3D
No, I mean
screen?
like, because the TV screen, let's say, for example, in Japan, the TV screen is a part of the wall. But this one, it was rather than be a part, it was out.
It was pushed out a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, it was pushed.
It's not maybe necessarily flat. Okay,
Yes.
so it's extending outside of, it's pushing out into reality a little bit, more than a flat screen TV would. Okay, then you call work, and they're calling you to ask if you've taken the right component out, and you try to explain them what components you've taken out. So they're not sure if there's some kind of a disagreement about whether you are capable as a mechanic yet, even though you got all those testimonials, so just a second. I'm sorry. So as you're waiting for the subway to come behind the glass, oh no, wait a minute. I did see. I call my work, or they are calling me, and I asked them if I'd taken the right component out. Try to explain them what components I'd taken out. Your mother apparently overhears the phone that the train had been switching tracks and warns me off of the danger, and you agree.
It's my colleague, like my boss is calling me. It's not my mother.
Okay, but it's a woman.
It's a woman, yeah.
Yes, and she's telling you that the train has been switching tracks and you need to be careful of the danger. And she's not even there, right? So she's just telling you this over the phone.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. And I might have encountered the same subway that you were fixing again, driving the opposite direction. It's also one time a door. So again, you were working. It was another door you've been working. Now, was this something about the place felt like godly?
Gulia is a place in Norway. I remember my first being there.
Yes.
It was a spiritless place. When I was in this place, I felt like, where is life? It was this. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It was somewhat God-forsaken. You know, it was so there was an aspect of it that didn't have any libidinal charge, and it sounds like it from the what's going before. You see your uncle in the subway as you were fixing, and he's there with your aunt and was really interested what you had to do for this work. And you take the component in your pocket, which was hard to get out, try to show him, but it's deep down inside of your pocket. Yeah, I always do that. I can't ever get anything out of my pocket. Usually my cell phone's ringing and I can't get it out. And it's usually in my pocket with tiny pieces of fabric component. And I had 2 springs, the other stuff, and then I woke up. Okay, now this is, we can interpret this dream. I want to hear everybody have some comments, but why don't we start on it officially next time? Because I want to sit down with this dream and pull it together a little bit so we don't talk about so many parts. But any surface comments about it, Roy or Gary? Just, it's a little, I'm going to, I promise you, I will pull it all together next time, and I'll send out an email on it and get it to be a little more, I'm going to try to pull it together. What do you think, Roy? Any comments on it? Or?
Well, I go right for the heart. I'm Shoe Bill Stork. I'm going to go right for the heart. I feel like I understand this dream.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. He's 35. He's in that stage where, he's got to go out in the collective, the tube, the subway, this collective. And he's got to do that before he can eat. He's in that stage. And it says security, but that's sort of an unconscious thing. It likes to contrast. It's really the contrast is he's insecure, but he's not in touch with it. He's trying to use the collective. He's the TV sort of collective. He doesn't know how to fix it. Real life isn't like the books. Things are going this way and that way. It's like the aquariums that don't have a stand. That's the way life is. And so the transcendent function of this thing, the whole key to this thing to me, is the spring in his pocket. That's the thing that's inside him. He can't dig it out, but that's the trick. That's going to put it all together. And spring, like spring to life, spring has to do with life. That's going to bring it to life. You have to get in touch with that spring. That's your transcendent function. It's a beautiful dream. It's just awesome. I get chills.
Yeah. Well, that is very helpful. And I just, I don't know if you saw, I'm just a little, I had a little tense day today, and I'm having a little trouble concentrating. So that's why I think I can handle it better next if I sit down with it. What do you think, Gary?
Well, there's obviously something that he has to do before he can make peace with the Father, before he can, and it's obviously pressing because he doesn't even feel comfortable or even really welcome sitting with the Father. And so, Roy's comment on the tube and the collective and the security, I was wondering about the security. So I thought that was really an interesting observation. Mm-hmm. And that's about all I've got.
Yeah, and I want to listen to Roy's explanation again. I will after the session too. Charles, what do you think? Do you have any comments?
I don't know. When you mean security, is it like a bunch of surveillance equipment or something?
No, it didn't feel like it. Like that's the thing. I don't know why the word security came up in my dream, because I was fixing the door. I feel like above the door. Something has to do with the wiring or some components there. I mean, I got the spring out, but I don't feel like it was surveillance. Like
Okay.
I didn't feel camera. I didn't feel like camera on it.
Okay. It was just kind of making sure that the subway itself was like safe to operate.
The new components. That's the thing I'm a bit insecure about. I think it's more to do with the security in the tube, but that's the thing. I don't know what security entails. That's why I don't quite know what my job is. I can't.
Okay.
All I know, the word security came out a few times in my dream. I was fixing this door, or above the door. I was doing something there, and I still didn't quite know what I was like gonna fix and what my role entailed.
Yeah. Yeah, I was curious about that because it made it when I heard, you know, security job, made me think of like surveillance and trying to make sure people didn't commit crimes on the subway or something.
No, I was.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really know exactly what I think about it, but I do feel like the point that he has to go, you know, do your job like before you can sit at the table with all the family members and eat. I think that's a really significant piece to it. It's kind of like a you know, you have to complete a quest before you can return home type thing. And yeah, I don't know. I definitely feel like I need to kind of hear it again next week.
Yeah, I do. But Roy was very helpful. I think, Roy, thank you for doing that. I think you're clear-headed tonight, you know, so thank you.
I like dreams.
Yes, I know. Well, that's going to be helpful. And I'll like I say, I know, like Charles, I need to go through it a couple times, but I didn't want to take up time going through it several times. What do you think, Ivan?
I think I need to see it written down.
Yeah. Well, it's in the chat. Did you get to see the chat? Or I can email it to everybody.
Yeah, if you could email it. I can see
Yeah.
the chat, but it's empty for me, I think, as I joined.
Okay, I'm going to email it to everybody. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, Kevin, do you have any comments? And then we'll see. Maybe Charles can just introduce the dream to us.
No, not. I don't really have much comment. Yeah. What I felt interesting was my father in the dream. I have had archetypal father in my dream. Like I visited my father. I didn't see him, but I could just feel the presence of a fatherly, like that was logos. Like logos, it's very powerful experience. You know, we often talk about its negative aspect, but experiencing pure logos, it's very powerful. And it was, for me, it was nice to actually see. I didn't see his face. I saw his body. And for me, it was first time in a dream I could see, like, and
well, that's very important too. Yeah. I mean, you know, my grandmother, when she was like half Indian, and she died when I was 7. And, you know, when I would see her in my dreams, it was always just a miracle, you know, because I had not seen her before. Let's see. Okay, from Dawn, you need to say thank you to everyone. Feel like I'm learning another language. And I want to add that I enjoyed Gary's dream. I feel like I relate without realizing exactly why. Good night. You do have a single dream, not a summary. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean send it. Yeah, if you could send it next time, Dawn. Let's do yours and Charles' dream. Well, we got to finish Kevin's, but you had, your last dream was so moving that I would like to have something to compare it with that's in somewhat of a same time series. So thank you. If you need to go, that's fine. I will put this on YouTube, but if you want to watch, I don't think there's too much of a confidential information here, so I don't think it'll be a problem. Charles, did you have a dream that you want to just to introduce?
Yeah, I could throw it in there because it's really short and it happened just the other day, and I thought it was really interesting. I like when I have dreams like this, but I was just in some house and it was really dark, and there was like a big window, or I guess a glass section of a wall to my left side, and I looked through it, and a big just kind of big wave of water just comes crashing through and sweeps up all the furniture and like the lamps and light fixtures and stuff. And it's on the other side of the glass. I'm like, whoa, the house is flooding. Like, I need to get out of here. And I run to the nearest door, and there's a little girl. I think she had like a raincoat and umbrella, I think. And her parents, her father's to one side and her mother's to the other. And she's floating in the air, and she is like floating, kind of like dancing in the air, and she's leaning forward, and then she'll lean back, and then to her left, and then to her right, and she kind of does this kind of like dance in the air. And I think to myself, oh, she's working, and it's like raining, I believe, just around her. And I think to myself, oh, she's working the air and or water just like how a potter would work clay. And in the dream, I even thought of it in a very elemental way. I was like, the potter, he works with earth. I get the blacksmith works with fire. This little girl works with air and water in her strange dance of leaning to 4 different directions. And then that was the end of the dream. At least that's all I remember.
Okay, well, now this is the good thing about this dream is we actually see anima in the dream. You've had ones before that have been your daughters, but I would say that and if you can possibly write this up and send it to, because I don't think we're no way we're going to finish it today, but it is. She is the shaper of the kind of opposites within you, which is water and spirit. I mean, you're somewhat. She's sort of the juggler, or the potter, the one that takes water and air, things that are difficult for you to fathom, and she can do anything with it. She's like the magician of the water and the air, and she does it as if in a dance. I mean, what a magical being, that is. Roy, what do you think? I mean, again, Charles, if you would send it to us. I sent the dream out for Kevin, and I'm sorry, Kevin, such a space cadet today.
No, that's fine. I think I did send that dream. So yesterday, if you need to.
We'll do a real good job on it. But anyway, what do you think, Roy? About
the shoe bill flies over. He's just astounded. This wave. That's the artistic inspiration. This little girl, it used to be a hamster. Now it's a little girl. She's the muse. She's the anima. She's showing him how to create. It's just awesome and powerful. I love it.
She's the star daughter of the raccoon mother.
Yeah.
See, I mean, we've had these beautiful images now of a redeeming feminine figure in Charles's dreams, which are very powerful. What do you think, Gary?
Well, so, first he's inundated by, by the water. And then he goes and discovers this anima figure who is working with the water and, kind of controlling it. And it's all through this sort of feeling function of kind of moving about, sort of a dance, going back and forth and sensing it and uniting with it in amazing ways. So,
feeling it.
I think this has something to tell you that, when things crash in, maybe you need to go to your feeling function. And that's where it all begins.
Yeah. This is so, it just seems like it possesses the magical charm of the feminine, but it's not being used for a hook, a projection hook, but as one who molds the unconscious images, which are in water. That's where the images are supposed to come from. This transparent liquid that you can see far down. You can see into the depths. That's what is in Pisces and in Aquarius too. But she's mixing spirit and images, or the realm of images. She's sort of molding them together, and wow, that's a magician, sorceress. It's just unbelievable. What do you think, Ivan?
It's I would be fascinated if I had this dream. It's interesting in that she is essentially shaping the world around her through motion. Like I really liked that analogy you said about it's almost like a potter. But so yeah, to me it's there's this idea of movement and changing the world around you just through movement.
Yeah, that is amazing. I mean, it is changing the world around you through movement, and without speaking either. So when we're talking about the feeling function, it also has an aspect of the of nature and just the joyful energy of life, that she represents. The anima is life, and that she's showing that she's life here too. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, I think it's a very beautiful dream. Yes, I feel like some people are inspired by the wind, ruh, in Arabic we call it spirit, ruh. But I think for you, like you said in a dream, your sort of individual karma, if you like, has more to do with, I think, also with previous dream, with water. And so I think all the waters in the dream perhaps is not so much an Indonesian, I don't know how to say this, Indonesian of the unconscious, as much as it is the stuff in which you have to work with in order to create something or whatever it is the anima in yourself is doing now.
Yeah, it's inundation, I think is the word, is the it's very similar to what Jung told him about James Joyce, about his daughter, that she is drowning in the water in which he, as the great artist of myth, is swimming. And I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of Joyce's daughter, James Joyce's daughter. Her name was Lucia, and she was actually was a little bit of. She ended up being schizophrenic and couldn't be helped. But I just wanted to send you a picture of her here. let's see if I can get it up here. All right, there we go. This is Lucia. Now, I just want you to compare Lucia here with the figure in Charles's dream. Can you see her there? She was a dancer, and she just kind of reminds me of this being that was, in Charles' dream. But the only idea is that what Jung said about her. I mean, he had taken Joyce had taken Lucia to many doctors, and he finally took her to Jung, and Jung said that he couldn't really help her, that she was drowning in the water that that Joyce was swimming in. But anyway, that in Charles's case, the water is see, now Charles is a pueriturnus and I'm a pueriturnus, but I'm an air being and Charles is a water being, and I haven't figured out the difference yet, you know. But anyway, Charles, if you could put that in a email, and I did email out Kevin's dream, and we'll work on Dawn's dream. And I think I'm normally and am always full of vim and vigor, but for some reason I'm pretty crazy tonight. But I think we did have a good dream with Roy and Gary. I'm still not done with your dream. I don't feel satisfied with it yet. So anyway, well, we'll see you right now. Looks like Kevin's masking up here. So, okay, well, we'll see you all next time. Thank you.
Everybody.
Okay, bye-bye. Good night.